All right, everyone. Let me know that you can see me and hear me okay. You can put questions into the comment section, and I will try to answer some of those during the talk, but mostly I'll save time for the Q&A afterwards. So my name is Dawn Winkleman. I'm a speech language pathologist and pediatric feeding specialist for ezpz. Today I'm going to talk about eating, drinking, feeding, swallowing, developmental milestones for your baby and your toddler. And I'm so glad to be virtually here with you guys. And Tamara, our COO of our all-women business, is in the chat right now, ready to answer any of your questions as well as we go along through the presentation. So I'll have time for a short Q&A at the very end, and we'll be giving away some products too. So stay with us as we go through all of our products with you. So most parents are aware of gross motor milestones like crawling and walking, but most parents are unaware of swallowing, eating, feeding, drinking, oral motor milestones. So I know that's a lot, but I'm going to walk you through this. I'm going to teach you some of these milestones and also teach you how ezpz products are designed specifically to help your baby and your toddler obtain those milestones too. So let's get started on the first milestone. So for babies, there is 1 cup milestone, and no, it's not a sippy cup. It's an open cup. Sippy cups actually delay feeding and speech. It has problems with oral motor issues. It screws up their ability to be able to use their tongue in the right place. And most importantly, sippy cups sabotage solid introduction. Let me explain. When babies are drinking, they should be drinking from an open cup, and that is a developmental milestone. The milestone says babies should drink and swallow from an open cup held by an adult by 6 months of age. So when I was first teaching swallowing, 20 plus years ago, I would always use like a Dixie cup or a shot glass. The issues with that is that the Dixie cup would be crushed by the baby, or a shot glass would knock out baby's front teeth. So I designed the tiny cup to make it easy for parents to help their babies obtain this milestone while also maintaining the integrity of the mouth and the teeth. So making it really easy for parents to be able to have something safe for their child. So basically what you're going to do is introduce the tiny cup with a 1/2 ounce to 1 ounce of breast milk or formula. We don't want to introduce water at the very beginning. We want to continue with breast milk or formula. And you're going to hold onto the cup, and baby is going to lean forward, and you're just going to give a little sip from the cup, let them swallow it, and you are in control of the cup. Families always say, oh my gosh, I'm so afraid of spills. You don't have to be afraid of spills because you are in control of this cup. Eventually, your baby's going to want to hold onto that cup because the next feeding milestone is that babies will drink from an open cup independently with spillage, of course, by 12 months of age. So at 6 months of age, when you start to introduce the open cup, 6, 7, 8 months of age, around 8 months, your baby is going to start to grab onto that cup. And that's okay. You can just slowly but surely help your baby hold onto it while you still have some control. And then your baby's going to actually want to hold on to that, and just let them have control of that last sip of breast milk, because we don't want to waste breast milk or formula, and allow your baby to be able to start to facilitate that. You're going to practice around 5 minutes a day. So when you start solids at 6 months of age, you're going to do 1 meal. So you're going to be practicing 5 minutes a day with that 1 meal. And then as you move along the continuum, when you start adding a second meal, a third meal, you're going to practice 5 minutes at every single meal. And sooner than later, your baby will be drinking from an open cup independently and maintaining their development. Why open cup drinking is so important is because it helps facilitate speech as well. So it's really critical for babies to actually drink from an open cup, not just because of the feeding and swallowing milestone, but also to help facilitate speech production. So the tiny cup is going to help your baby do that. We have sensory bumps here on the bottom for babies to actually help hold. It's flexible here so that you can help to be able to get that tongue into the mouth if your baby kind of has their tongue out. It is weighted, so it makes it easier for topple resistance. And of course, it's made out of food grade silicone, so you can put this in the microwave and heat up if you want to put purees in here or breast milk and kind of heat that up for a little bit. And it's really easy to be able to practice this with your child, especially if they're teething packaging too, because it's soft silicone. And all the information that I just talked about is on our packaging to make that really easy for you to remember. So that is our tiny cup. Also for babies, there are spoon milestones. So we have the tiny spoon, which I designed for babies. And let's see if I can get in on the sensory bumps there so you can kind of see the sensory bumps. And this is a small handled spoon. So babies have 5 spoon milestones that they're supposed to obtain as well. I designed the spoon to help obtain those milestones and make it really easy for babies to be able to self-feed and utilize the skills that they need from a feeding standpoint as well as from a fine motor standpoint. You want to use a baby-led spoon as compared to an adult-led spoon. You know, those long-handled spoons that are for you to actually put food into babies' mouths. Well, when we put a spoon or food into a baby's mouth, it can increase the risk of choking. So anytime we put anything in a baby's mouth, it can increase that risk. Babies are supposed to put a spoon into their own mouth and be able to work on their hand-to-mouth coordination, to be able to work on feeding movements to the mouth, making that more effective, and being able to develop the oral motor skills to be able to put their lips onto the spoon, have control of that spoon, and pull the spoon out themselves in order to really facilitate that lip closure. Again, not only for oral motor and feeding development, but also for speech development as well. So a couple of those milestones, the first milestones is that they're supposed to play with the spoon. So they're going to play and bang the spoon onto the tray, the high chair tray. It'll be a little annoying at first, but trust me, this is a very important milestone because when they're doing this and playing with the spoon, and you can do this between 4 and 5 months of age, introduce that spoon to your baby, be able to allow them to play and have fun with it. So then at 6 months of age, when you're ready to start solids, your baby's already really familiar with the spoon. So this developmental milestone can happen between 4 and 6 months of age. And then we want babies to mouth the spoon. You can see on our social media, if you go to our Instagram page, it's at ezpz. Babies are mouthing the handle of the spoon, and that's totally okay. It's completely normal. It's a developmental milestone that babies really check out the entire spoon and really mouth the whole spoon, the handle and the spoon bowl, again, completely normal. The third milestone is that they can hold onto the spoon and bring that spoon or an object to their mouth independently. So what you can do is you can actually help facilitate that and help them preload the spoon, which I'm going to show you here in a little bit, in order to help them facilitate that hand-to-mouth movement and bringing the spoon all by themselves. And then, of course, we're actually going to expect some dipping skills with the spoon too. So what that consists of is a baby holding onto it and dipping into the tiny cup, which you can utilize to help with dipping, or the tiny bowl, which I'm going to show you here in a minute. And that comes around 9 months of age, although I've seen a lot of 6-month-old babies using the tiny spoon and doing some dipping too. And then between 11 and 18 months, your baby's going to start to learn how to scoop on their own and help to facilitate that. Again, we're not looking for that skill until 11 to 18 months, but I've seen 8-month-olds master that with the tiny spoon. So the tiny spoon will help your baby reach these 5 spoon feeding milestones. Now let's talk about the tiny bowl. So the tiny bowl is perfect for offering those first ingredients. This is part of our first food set, which I'm going to show you here in a second. And we're going to start introducing those foods singly. So one ingredient, so avocado, next day, banana, next day, sweet potato, next day, lamb. We're going to really start to just introduce those first few ingredients, which is so nice. And what's great about the tiny bowl is that it's a bowl and a placemat all in one that suctions to the surface. So here he is here. So it suctions to the surface, making it easy for your babies to be able to use their hands in a whole hand grab and put the food into their mouth, or be able to actually use the spoon for the dipping skills that I was showing you here earlier. So this is perfect to be able to help with those first foods. Another fantastic issue with the tiny bowl is that it fits on all high chairs, even space saver models. So if you're looking for something to kind of go into your diaper bag, go to grandma's house, go to a restaurant and know that it's going to fit on that high chair, or going to daycare, this is a product that you want because it's so tiny, it fits on all high chairs. So that's really great. We also just came out with lids for all of our smaller products too. So this is a tiny bowl lid, so you can actually put that on and take that to daycare etc. So it's suctioned. It's really easy to be able to take with you. So when you buy it singly, you can buy the tiny bowl. It comes into a wet bag. You just take out the insert. You put in the tiny bowl. This is the packaging that it comes in is a wet bag, which is really nice. Then you can put in the tiny cup and tiny spoons too, and seal that up, put that into your diaper bag, makes it really easy to be able to take on the go. And then when you get home, you can throw this all in the dishwasher. All of our products are dishwasher safe, and then rinse out the wet bag and then have that ready for your next meal. So you can buy them all singly. That comes in different packages. So here's the tiny bowl, tiny spoons with all the developmental milestones here on the back of that as well. I forgot to mention about the tiny spoon. We have those sensory bumps on the bowl of the spoon, and that's actually to help decrease gagging and choking. There's other spoons on the market that have what's called a choking guard, which is a hard piece of plastic that goes around that spoon, and we don't want to use products like that because it can knock out your baby's front teeth, and it doesn't allow your baby to actually move that gag reflex back. Babies need to be able to put the spoon in a little too far in order to help push that gag reflex so that your baby is not gagging at 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, 9 months as you're introducing solids. So those sensory bumps are actually going to help increase that sensory awareness and help baby be able to push that gag reflex back. So the tiny bowl comes in that packaging, but we also have it as a gift set, which is really nice. So you can add this to your registry. So it has a tiny cup, the tiny bowl, and tiny spoons. Again, all the developmental benefits are on the back of that. So that makes it really easy to be able to purchase this for a friend or add it to your registry to have your family purchase such a beautiful gift for your baby. The colors it comes in, all of our products: sage, blush, pewter, lime, coral, blue, gray, and then we have sienna and indigo that just came out, which are really beautiful and popular colors as well. So that is our first foods set. And then now we're moving along through toddlerhood. So toddlerhood is between 12 and 24 months, and we're going to transition from the tiny line, which is our infant line, to our toddler line. And what's so great about being able to move on to toddlerhood is that everything gets a little bit bigger from ounces perspective. And so we're going to start off with our mini cup. So our tiny cup has the 2 ounces, and then our mini cup has the 4 ounces. So you can see the difference here. Our tiny cup can kind of nest in. And what's really important about picking the right cup is that we want babies to be able to breathe around the cup. So when I put the cup here for babies to drink, you can still see that baby can still breathe. We don't want to offer bigger cups, like sippy cups are so huge and they cover the whole nose and mouth. And we want babies to be able to learn how to breathe and swallow successfully. So this is, the mini cup is geared towards toddler size faces as compared to the tiny cup is geared towards babies' faces, infants' faces, so much bigger, and we want to make sure that they're able to breathe really easily. I'm so glad I'm seeing you guys in the comments. I'm so glad that you're loving all of our color line. We are very particular about colors, so I'm so happy to see that. Okay, so now we're going to move on from the tiny cup. So once your baby independently is drinking from the tiny cup with some spillage, then you can start to transition to the mini cup. So the mini cup holds 4 ounces. Once we are moving on to toddlerhood at 12 months of age, you can still offer breast milk or formula, but most parents start to offer cow's milk or a nut milk alternative, so you can use that for that. We want to still continue with open cup drinking as compared to drinking from a sippy cup or a 360 cup, because again, that makes the child's mouth do different movements, like extending out the jaw and biting down a drink, which is not how we drink and swallow. We still need to be able to practice open cup drinking, because not only is that going to help facilitate speech and decrease picky eating, it also is very, very important to be able to make the next milestone, which is at 24 months of age, a toddler is supposed to drink from an open cup with no spillage. So at 12 months, there's still spillage. At 24 months, no spillage. And that's going to be able to help facilitate all of their feeding milestones as well. So it's important to be able to continue to move on with the open cup. Now we also have the opportunity to start introducing a straw. So we want to introduce open cups, and then you can start to introduce straw drinking around 9 months of age, although it's not a milestone for mastering until 12 to 15 months of age. So the mini cup that I just showed you also can be a straw cup. So we have a lid here and a straw, which is really nice. It comes in this gorgeous packaging so that you can see that it has the lid, the straw, and the cup, and all the steps that I'm going to tell you about and the advantages here are all on the packaging as well. We're going to start with open cup drinking, then we're going to move on to the training straw, and then we're going to move on to the advanced straw, and all of that is in here. So save the packaging. So the lid is going to help facilitate your child to be able to drink correctly. A lot of children try to drink from a straw, and what they do is they put the whole straw into their mouth and they suckle. And what a suckle is, it's the tongue movement going forward and backwards, which is what babies do in order to drink off of a breast or a bottle. But as they get older, especially between 9 and 12 months of age, we want them to actually have a swallow, not a suckle anymore. So we want to be able to make sure that they're using their lips onto the straw, not their tongue. So what we designed here is, let's see if I can get that in. There we go. You can see the sensory bumps on the tip of the straw. What that's going to do is going to be able to help facilitate lip rounding. So when we're drinking from an open cup, we're working on lip closure. When we're drinking from a straw, we're working on lip rounding. So the sensory bumps here are going to help to teach kids to keep their lips at the tip of the straw so that there's no tongue suckling. In fact, it's going to help with the mastery of tongue placement. Tongue placement is supposed to be up to the roof of the mouth in order to swallow. If everyone will swallow your saliva, feel your tongue go up to the roof of your mouth. That is a mature swallow, and that's what we want to happen when we're drinking from an open cup and a straw cup correctly. So this straw is the first of its kind. It is the safest straw cup on the market because it's really helping to facilitate lip rounding and teaching your child how to drink as compared to a weighted straw that really does not allow your child to actually work on that musculature. I still use weighted straws with some of my clients that have cerebral palsy or Down syndrome because they kind of need that extra assistance. But we want to teach babies and toddlers to be able to have those good musculature to be able to extract the fluids correctly and have that good tongue placement. So once your child is drinking from the straw and doing it correctly, using their lips, and you're seeing those little wrinkles around their lips, and using the sensory bumps, and also this curvature. You see that there's a curve to that. What that does is that it keeps kids' chins down to be able to protect their airway. The more that your child is looking down when they're eating and drinking, the more their airway is protected and the more their esophagus is open to have those liquids go and that food go into their stomach. As compared to a sippy cup, when you're drinking from a sippy cup, your head is tilted back. If you're drinking from a 360 cup, your head is tilted back. Your child's airway is open. That's why a lot of kids end up having ear infections from drinking and that liquid going into the eustachian tubes. It can cause ear infections and hearing loss, or the liquids can go down into the lungs, causing a lot of congestion or aspiration pneumonia. So we don't want your child ever in a head back position because it opens airway. We want it down. So the safety features of this straw cup is that we have that curved straw. We also have the sensory bumps to help facilitate that lip rounding. And we also have a very short straw. In order to teach straw drinking, children have to be able to suck. They need to be able to hold their breath. They need to be able to swallow, exhale through their nose, and then take another breath. That is really complicated. That's why there's no milestone for straw drinking until 9 months of age. So we want to really focus on open cup drinking from 6 to 9 months. Then we can start introducing a straw at 9 months of age. And then once your child turns 12 months of age, they can start drinking from this open cup as well. So it's a nice transition with straw drinking. Once you see your child be able to use the straw correctly, and you're seeing that sometimes it takes a few days, sometimes a few weeks, then you can flip the straw over and now it becomes a regular straw. So there's no sensory bumps, there's no curvature, and now your child has actually gone through the program and is able to drink from an open cup, able to drink from the training straw, and then now mastering drinking from an advanced straw as well. So that is the mini cup and straw training system, which is so exciting, that just launched at the last Prego Expo, and we just are having a hard time keeping it in stock. So if you want to add it to your registry, add it now. Now we're going to talk about spoons and forks. So in toddlerhood, we're actually wanting to facilitate fork use. So people always ask us why we don't have a fork in our tiny line for infants. And that's because developmentally, babies are not supposed to use a fork. Not only from a safety standpoint, I contract with the Center of the Blind here, and basically a lot of the rationale for babies going blind is using a fork and stabbing themselves. So we have the safety issue of a fork, obviously, but also the fine motor movement. And we're really not expecting a child to be able to pierce and be able to turn their wrist and able to use a fork. But we do expect that for toddlers. There is a milestone in toddlerhood that children are supposed to be able to use a fork. So for a mini line for toddlers, we do have a spoon and a fork. And to show you the difference between sizing, so you can kind of see the sizing difference. Again, there's a tiny spoon and the mini spoon. So toddlers get a little bit bigger, their mouths are a little bit wider, so we're going to go with a bigger spoon bowl. And the spoon bowl and the fork bowl are actually made of nylon, so it helps because they're going to be doing more scooping and piercing, so we need to be able to have a little bit stronger head. But of course, this is still all food grade silicone as well. So this makes a wonderful companion to be able to help children really obtain those milestones of scooping and of piercing. So that makes that really fun. And on the packaging is all the benefits of the fork and spoon as well. Of course, we still have the sensory bumps here, like we did on the tiny line. So we have the sensory bumps to help them facilitate and give them that sensory feedback that, hey, we're moving too far into the mouth. So it's very consistent. So a lot of toddlers have a hard time moving on from their baby utensils to toddler utensils because they look so different. But of course, we designed ours to be very similar. So it makes it a real seamless transition from infancy to toddlerhood and having them be more independent at mealtime. So we talked a little bit before about how to preload a spoon. So I want to show you how to do that. So with the tiny spoon, we're going to dip that into the food, and then we're going to offer that to baby. So we're going to hand that to baby. So baby is actually going to grab that spoon and be able to put that into their mouth. Yep, it's going to be a little messy, but trust me, after a couple meals, it's going to get less messy, and less messy. So this is really important because we're really having them master that hand to mouth movement. And we're going to do the same thing for toddlers when we are introducing the fork. So we're going to preload the fork by stabbing the piece of food and leaving it here on the edge, or stabbing that piece of food and handing it to your toddler. So we're going to preload the spoon for babies, and then we're going to preload the fork for toddlers as well. So now into toddlerhood, we have the mini mat. This is a product that actually can go from infancy to toddlerhood. So you can continue to use the tiny bowl, or you can start to use the mini mat for infants as well once you start to have that avocado, banana, and sweet potato, let's say. So what's great about this product is that it's a smiley face, and there's lots of research that says that the more that objects and people are smiling at kids, the more that they're actually going to enjoy mealtime and actually eat more. So that's a wonderful positive thing. But also, this is a great visual reminder for you as parents and caregivers to be able to serve 3 different foods. And that's so important because your child needs to have this portion of the mat filled with carbohydrates because they need that for energy. They need to have this section filled up with protein because they need to have protein at meals. And then this section filled up with either a fruit or a vegetable at every meal. So it's really important to be able to offer those 3 foods instead of just kind of getting into the habit of just mac and cheese, and then being able to really have them have all the food groups. It's also portion size. So this is 2 ounces, 2 ounces, and 4 ounces, which is really important. The tiny bowl is portioned at 5 ounces. So once you go in for your 9-month-old checkup and your pediatrician asks how much your child is eating at mealtime, it'll be very easy for you to just visually be able to give them that information. And of course, our plate, the mini mat suctions to the table, and we have the plate and placemat so it captures the mess, but also has a wonderful place to be able to put all of the utensils as well. That is our toddler and infant plate. And then we have our toddler bowl. This is the mini bowl. And this is 8 ounces as compared to 5 ounces for the tiny bowl. So as you can see, our products, as they age, as your child is aging, we're aging with it. So this is a whole developmental line. So we have our tiny collection for infants, our mini collection for toddlers, and all the portion sizes are starting to get bigger as well. So then now a child can be able to feed themselves with a spoon or fork and make it really easy for them to be able to help facilitate those feeding milestones. And we also have a gift set for this too. So this is the mini feeding set. And so it has the mini utensils with the mini mat so that you're able to utilize all of these developmental skills. And then of course, all the information is on the back as well. So this is a really nice gift set or a first birthday party gift if you're doing it for someone else, but it's wonderful to add that to your registry as well so you have everything you need for feeding. Now we're moving into our happy collection, which is for older toddlers and little kids. So now we have our happy bowl, and this is a 12-ounce bowl. So just to kind of show you the difference, here's the mini bowl which is 8 ounces, to the happy bowl, which is 12 ounces. Again, introducing salads, cereals, etc. As your child gets older, they need a little bit bigger portion sizes. And then we also have our flagship product, which is the Happy Mat. And so the Happy Mat consists of 4 ounces, 4 ounces, and 10 ounces. So let me show you that in comparison to the mini so you can kind of see again. So these are 2 ounces, 2 ounces, 4, 4, 4, and 10. So we've like double the ounce size. And of course, we still have that plate and that placemat all in one that suctions to the table. Then as a companion to the Happy Mat, we have our Making Mealtime Easy Peasy book. And I co-authored this book with our founder, Lindsay Lorraine. And it tells you all about portion sizes for toddlers. It gives you some fun ideas on how to make mealtime really cute and fun. Again, these took me 5 minutes to make, so we're not trying to have you be a Pinterest mom, just giving you some ideas. It has recipes in here for you to try, so different dips for your toddlers. And then also a whole bunch of picky eating tips as well. At the very back of the book, I have pictures of all of the utensils that I used in order to make all of the foods in here, and you can get those at the 99-cent store. So that is our book. Now we're getting into our play section of our line. This is our mini play mat, which is great for food, but also great for crafting too. So for food, you can do ranch dressing and some vegetables to kind of introduce some different vegetables. I always like to put 3 vegetables or 3 fruits that your child really enjoys, and then 2 new ones in order to make them feel comfortable about eating foods and feel like maybe they'll be a little bit more adventurous of being able to try to, take on trying a new food here. You can also do yogurt with different fruits, or you can use this for crafting. So it can be water with different paints, or you can have beads. Anything that you kind of want to maintain the mess makes that really easy. And it comes in a wet bag as well. So it's perfect for traveling to daycare, to grandma's house, etc. So that is our mini play mat. Then we also have our larger size play mat. And I love this for sensory play. So this is a great opportunity to be able to play with your babies with food or with other mediums. So let's say you want to do Play-Doh here, or you're going to pour a little bit of applesauce onto here and have your child be able to try to play with that. You can have different foods and you can mash them in here. It's a wonderful way if you get stuck in a mealtime rut and you really want to introduce a new food, but your child really needs that extra time to kind of play with the food. This is such a great space for being able to assist with that. You can also, again, use this for crafting. So again, water with paints. This holds an 8x11 piece of paper, so it makes it really easy to just kind of maintain all the mess here. And kids love to be able to work on their handwriting and scribbling. Because it has this little lip here, it holds that piece of paper in place. So it makes it really easy for them to learn how to scribble and then color and then draw and then handwriting, which is, again, all these developmental skills. So that is a wonderful place to be able to help facilitate play development, which also helps with speech and feeding too. Whew, that was a really fast lineup of our products. And if you have some questions, feel free to put that into the chat so that I can answer any questions that you have, as well as being able to have Tamara, who is our COO, answer questions here as well. So type yes in the chat if you learned something new about how to feed your baby or how to feed your toddler. I love seeing that you guys have learned something new. So type yes. And if you want more feeding tips, you can follow us at ezpz fun on Instagram or Facebook. You can also follow me at Miss Dawn SLP on Instagram or Facebook. And if you want some feeding and baby-led weaning support, you can join my private Facebook group, which is go.missdawnslp.com/group. I'll put that in the comments as well. And we have 20% off of our website, which is ezpzfun.com. And you can use the code PREGO20 for 20% off. That code will expire on May 30th. So if you want to snag some gear with 20% off, you can do that. And we're also on my registry and Bye Bye registry as well. So, type in yes. I love seeing yeses. Yay, I'm so glad to hear that. Now, before we head into the giveaway and Q&A, I want to remind you guys that teaching these feeding, swallowing, oral motor, and speech milestones takes practice, patience, repetition, just like everything else in parenting. But you can do this. If to get some inspiration, follow us on Instagram or Facebook to kind of see other kids really mastering these and facilitating, good lip closure and being able to use a tiny spoon to really see that 6-month-old babies can feed themselves. We just need to let them be able to do that. So I hope that you will purchase some of our products and watch your child really succeed at mealtime. Now I'm going to have Tamara pick the giveaway winners. We are giving away our first foods set to one winner, and then we're giving away a mini cup and straw training system to another. So just to remind you, here is a mini cup and straw training system. I'll let Tamara pick that winner, and then our first food set for another winner. So while she is doing that, I'm going to start answering some questions. So let's see. Oh, I love all your guys' comments. Thank you so much. Oh, everyone's saying thank you for the information. Oh, that's so great. Elena is saying this is the most informative session I've seen during this expo. Oh, thank you so much, you guys. I really appreciate that. A question about transitioning from a tiny cup to open cup. Okay, so to do that again, we want to be able, before we transition, we want to be able to drink from, want your baby to drink independently from the open cup. So what that really means is that if your child grabs onto the tiny cup and drinks from the open cup, independently one time, you're not going to transition to the mini cup. You want to see your child consistently drinking from the open cup. And again, we're only going to, this is a 2-ounce cup, but you're only filling up maybe a 1/2 ounce to 1 ounce, because if it spills, we don't want a huge mess for you guys. But we want them to be able to be successful with that. Usually that happens between 11 and 12 months of age. Although if you go onto our Instagram feed at ezpz you'll easily see there's tons of 6-month-olds out there just rocking it, because the design of the cup is weighted on the bottom, but it's also angled on the inside to help maintain that ability for the liquids to come out really easily and not having to have your child tilt their head back in order to increase choking risk. So it's designed so perfectly that babies end up making that milestone a lot earlier because they're using a really great design. So as soon as your child does that independently and does it consistently, then you can move on to the mini cup. Again, it usually happens between 11 and 12 months of age. So then you can transition onto that. Oh, I'm loving all your guys' question. Great. About being able to self-feed. So your baby's developmental milestones are they're wanting to use their whole hand grasp when they're first eating, and that's fine too. We want them to do that. That is a developmental milestone of your child being able to take their whole hand, grab food off. And if you see here on the mini mat, this rim of the smile, it flexes. And it flexes because when your child grabs onto that food, it's going to allow them to be able to pick that food up really easily. And again, maintain those feeding milestones. So yes, you want to offer a spoon at every single meal, and you can put that here. Even if your child is not really interested in the spoon at first, just like with food, a child may need to see a utensil 15 times or more before they're really willing to grab onto it. Most kids will want to grab this because it's made out of 100% food grade silicone. It's so soft. It's really tender for their gums. They want to kind of gum on this while they're eating as well. So it really helps to facilitate those oral motor skills that I was talking about. But your child is going to kind of go back and forth. So to answer your question, is it okay if they use their hands for feeding? Absolutely. That is a feeding milestone as well as the spoon milestone. So all of our products, because they suction to the table. So here I am lifting off the I'm trying not to make it fall, but you can see how good this suctions. So it suctions, so it allows your child to really maintain their stability while they're learning how to be able to feed themselves. So that's why it's so important to be able to have suction, is to really help facilitate those hand motion milestones, as well as to be able to learn how to scoop and pierce. Because if a child is chasing that plate or bowl, it makes it very difficult and very frustrating for them to be able to try to learn how to eat. When does a code end? It ends on the 30th, so May 30th. So you can use the code PregoExpo at our website, ezpzfun.com. I love that you guys are all saying that you're like adding it to the registry. That makes me so, so happy. Is the ounce count, Christina says, is the ounce count to the rim or slightly under? It's to the rim. So it's 2 ounces and 4 ounces. So we want to, fill that up just halfway when we're learning, when we're teaching a baby how to be able to drink from it. So I'd like to just kind of fill it up halfway. Yes, they are dishwasher safe. I love that. And we'll be in our booth later today as well, answering questions. And I'm there. I'm in the booth all day long answering questions, but I'll be live in the booth in a couple of hours. So you can also ask me any questions there too. We have about 10 to 15 more minutes here. So I'm just typing your questions and I'm just going to go ahead and answer all those too. Cassandra says, these were not out 9 years ago. I'm so thankful they're out. Yes, so much has changed in the baby industry in the last 5 years. So that makes it really exciting for you guys to be able to learn about these milestones, because again, nobody really talks about them. That's why ezpz is a leader in the feeding industry, is because all of our products are developmentally appropriate. It's helping to help your baby perform those skills and be able to do those in a timely manner in order for those feeding milestones to be able to precede those speech milestones and language and play and cognition. They all kind of build onto each other, but we need to allow babies to actually do what they are meant to do developmentally. Babies can do more than we give them credit for. We just need to let them have the skills to be able to do that. So if we're giving them sippy cups or not learning how to be able to use their tongue correctly and increasing the choking risk, if we are giving them, if we're feeding them with a spoon, then they're not actually learning how to be able to do those fine motor skills. And so it just sets up a path of being a little bit delayed in development. So it's really important to be able to have those skills and then have these beautiful colors in your house to make food fun and match. Aesthetically, you can pick the colors that look great in your home. Some parents want to have it, match their nursery. Some parents want it to match their kitchen. So we have a variety of colors to choose from in order to make that aesthetically pleasing for you, but also for your kids as well. Oh, great. We have the winners here, which is so exciting. Thank you so much, Tamara. Annie saying, I registered for some of your products already. Now I want even more of them. Well, that's great. And here's the wonderful thing about our products is that you can buy them through ages and stages, right? So you just saw our tiny line for infants, our mini line for toddlers, our happy line for older kids. So it's really easy to be able to say, okay, what's happening next? Our baby it's almost their first birthday. What do we need to purchase next? So it just kind of makes it simple for you to be able to feel comfortable about where you're at and where you're going so that you can kind of know developmentally what is expected next. We're not expecting that fork in infancy, but we are expecting that fork milestone in toddlerhood. So we are really designing that specifically to make it easy for you. That's why we're easy peasy, make it easy peasy. So you don't have to second guess what your child is supposed to be doing. You can just kind of see that in our products. I'm so glad that you guys learned a lot. Thank you so much. Oh, twin mom. So our founder, Lindsay Lorraine, had twins, which is how our company started. So we have a passion for twin parents. So it's hard. Here is my biggest tip for you twin moms. Make sure that you get the products, because you're going to get 2 sets of products. Make sure that you get different colors. And the rationale behind that is because, let's say this is for your daughter and you have one for your son. It's very easy because mealtime is chaotic, feeding too. So at the very end of the meal, when you put your kids down and maybe they're playing, you're coming back to do cleanup, and it's very easy for you to say, oh, Myra didn't eat her strawberries, but Johnny did. It makes that really easy to know when you're introducing food allergens. So allergenic foods that we need to introduce early and often at 6 months of age. We want to introduce allergenic foods in food form, not powder form, because we want to make sure that your baby is learning how to eat those foods. And so it's really important to kind of see, especially if you're introducing allergenic food, did both twins have the allergenic food? Oh, one had a rash. Okay, we need to keep our eye on them. But the other one, oh, they didn't even eat any of the fish. So it just makes it nice and easy if you have them color coded. So there's a tip for twin moms. Oh, Lindsay's here. Hi, Lindsay. Our founder is actually in the chat as well. This is so great. So Lauren says, but do you want to get the mini cup sooner to use the straw? Yes. So what I like to do is you're starting off with the tiny cup from 6 months to 9 months, and then you're going to purchase the mini cup and straw training system, and then you can start just using the straw portion at 9 months of age. So 9 months, 10 months, 11 months, and then you're going to transition from the tiny cup to the mini cup from an open cup standpoint at that 12-month mark too. If your child is drinking from the tiny cup independently at 11 months, then you can easily transition then, because again, we're really looking for that facial structure of your child to make sure that that cup doesn't cover both their nose and mouth. But yes, I like to purchase the mini cup and straw training system. You can put that on the registry now so that you actually have that, or you can buy that right before that 9-month mark so you can start to introduce the straw cup then. Such great questions. Okay, we have 8 minutes left. So go ahead and type in any questions that you have. Chelsea says, I wish I could win that pink set that you're holding. Yes, this blush is so beautiful. I absolutely love it. Let me show it to you in the tiny cup too. It's just maybe on my gray background. You can see that a little bit easier. It's such a pretty, pretty color. I love how you guys are all congratulating all the other winners. Thank you so much for doing that. Is it dishwasher safe? Yes, all of our products are dishwasher safe, microwave safe, and oven safe. Obviously, you're not putting the utensils in the microwave, but if you wanted to crack an egg and put a piece of bacon in here, you can put that into the oven, have that cook, and then you can serve it just like you would silicone dishware. I love all your guys' questions here. I'll add the Facebook group into the feed here in just a minute. It's go.missdawnslp.com/group, but I will add it into that. Once I'm done with my presentation, I'll add that. Thank you. You guys are so welcome. Yes, oven safe is incredible. It is. It really makes it easy, especially if the microwave and the oven, if you have a toddler or an infant who is just learning how to be able to eat. Sometimes that cereal, we want it to be moist, especially with babies. You want the food to be warm. And why that's important is because fat equals moisture. We want the foods to be moist in order to be able to make sure to decrease choking risk. So it's really important to maintain that temperature with infants. So sometimes if we're putting, some shredded pork in here, or we have a little bit of infant cereal in here, if it starts to get cold, it's going to get hard. Hard foods is a choking risk for babies. So we're going to take that mat, we're going to put it into the microwave for 10 seconds, warm it up, stir it around, reserve it to your baby. Fat equals moisture. And so to make it easy for your babies to be able to eat, but fat starts to harden really easily. So you have to maintain that moisture. So yes, being able to use a microwave is very important. I love all your guys' questions. I was not going to add any food-related items to my registry, but now I will. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Edith says, great twin tip. My pops always tells me stories of how confused they would get about remembering which one of the babies they fed. And that's so important too. I mean, you guys are going to be sleep deprived, so it makes it really easy if you have everything color coded. And also when it comes to ounces too. So if you have, for our multiples moms, if you have different colored tiny cups, that's really important too, because you're going to offer, breast milk or formula, and as you try to decrease their bottles, I start to decrease bottles around 8 months of age. I decrease the first bottle. You need to know how many ounces your child is drinking from an open cup or from a straw cup in order to know when you're going to be able to decrease the next bottle. So it's really important to have that color coded and make that a little bit easier for everyone to kind of keep track of, especially when you're sleep deprived. So Carrie is saying, for the mini cup and straw training system, can you use it as an open cup, or do you have to use it with the straw? No, you can actually use it for all three. That's why it's a 3-step program. You're using it for an open cup, you're using it with a training straw, then you're using it with the advanced straw. So it's a 3-step program. So absolutely, we want you to use that open cup. We just wanted you to use that as your child gets a little older and after they've maintained drinking from the tiny cup independently. Thank you so much for all your comments, you guys. Are the feeding sets you have available online on your website? Yes, they are. So the feeding sets are the first food set, which consists, this is for infants, the tiny cup, tiny bowl, and tiny spoons. And then the mini feeding set, which consists of the mini utensils for toddlers and the mini mat as well. And again, on the back of our packaging is everything. If you're like, oh my gosh, what did Miss Dawn say? All of the information is on the back as well to make that really easy for you to be able to remember what you're doing when you're sleep deprived. Is a product rubber or plastic? It's actually food grade silicone. So it's 100% food grade silicone, making it very, very soft for your baby. And making it safe for your baby too. So you use a straw first. Sorry if you already mentioned this, just joined. Yes, you're going to use the straw first. It's really important to be able to offer the straw around 9 months of age. We don't want to introduce a straw too early because, like I discussed, your child has to really have what's called a breath-swallow coordination down for liquids. It's 2 types of development. So we learn that breath, suck, swallow synchrony when we're using it for a breast or a bottle. Then we're actually doing something different. We're going from a suckle to a suck. And so we need to be able to maintain that. Remember, your child is always going to pick breathing over drinking. So if it doesn't feel good, they're not going to do it. So a lot of families and therapists try to introduce straws to 4-month-olds, 5-month-olds, 6-month-olds, and babies just don't have that coordination. But 9-month-old babies have been eating solids for a couple months. They're starting to understand how to be able to hold their breath and swallow safely. So then we can start to introduce the straw cup. So you're going to introduce the straw cup with the training straw at first to help them with keeping their lips at the tip. And then once your child is maintaining that and being able to drink successfully from the training straw, then you're going to flip that straw over and now you have a regular straw. And so that makes it really easy for them to be successful. As a feeding therapist, I was constantly seeing kids not obtaining that straw drinking milestone because they were just putting the whole thing in their mouth and suckling with their tongue like they do with the sippy cup. And that's not how we swallow. We want the tongue to go up to the roof of the mouth to protect their airway. And that's so important. When we're practicing drinking from an open cup and drinking from a straw cup, we're practicing that tongue elevation, going up to the roof of your mouth. If you're just joining us, swallow your saliva and feel the tongue going up to the roof of your mouth. That's the mature swallow we want to have. If your child is drinking from a sippy cup or has been on a pacifier for a long period of time, we want to decrease that pacifier use around 6 months of age because it facilitates that suckle, that tongue going in and out. Then your child doesn't learn to be able to bring the tongue up to the roof of the mouth, protect the airway. If you're worried about choking and starting solids, use an open cup and allow your child to actually learn how to bring that tongue up to the roof of the mouth in order to help decrease choking risk. So we've got the last minute here. A couple more questions. Are the cups and straws sold separately? Yes, so you can do the tiny cup, which it comes separately. You can do this singly or in the first food set. And then the mini cup and straw training system comes in another packaging too. So you can add those separately onto your registry, or you can go onto our website, ezpzfun.com, use the code PREGO20 for 20% off, and that code expires on the 30th of this month. Okay, one last question here. I'm so excited that you guys are adding this to the registry. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Oh, I love that. Thank you so much. We have people say, I'm so excited to be able to use all these products with your baby. Yes, and tag us in pics too. You can use the hashtag EasyPeasyFun or the hashtag MyEasyPeasyMat. We do a lot of giveaways on our social too, so to help facilitate that too, because we love seeing your mealtime creations. So feel free to tag us in those pictures, and I'll add my Facebook group here to the chat in just a moment. This concludes our presentation on developmental milestones for babies and toddlers. I want to thank Samantha and Juliana. Thank you so much for having us here and letting us teach all of you about how to help keep your infant safe when you're starting solids. Cheers!